Well, that is all still to come. But first, a special report on how schools increasingly need help with the pressure of teaching more and more pupils whose first language is not English. Now, regardless of where they come from, children are legally entitled to an education. But in many cases, that is where the problems start. The number of school children in England using English as an additional language continues to increase. In 1997, just 7.6% of all pupils were doing that. And that number has now risen to more than 20% as of 2023. And that includes children who have moved to England through all forms of immigration, not only asylum seekers, as well as children born in the UK, but whose parents speak a different language. This is from our social affairs correspondent, Sarah Corker.
OK, this side, ready? Hello.
Hello. At City Academy in Birmingham, these students are on an intensive 12-week English course before returning to mainstream school.
Where are you from?
I'm from Gaza.
They're all new arrivals to Britain. Some have fled war and persecution from countries around the globe and speak little or no English.
My name is Amrullah and I am 12 years old. Yes.
When the Taliban swept to power in 2021, Amrullah and his family were forced to flee and airlifted to safety.
What was that like for you, coming somewhere completely different?
Harsh and don't know where to go, start with, and don't know anything, any language, don't know what they're saying.
He is one of hundreds of kids who have benefited from this specialist support.
They helped me how to read and write, and then now my English is 10 times better.
I say, you say. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
As well as language classes, the Core Hello programme, as it's known, focuses on integration, helping kids get to know their new city and culture.
What kind of things, when you went out, did you do?
When we went out, we go to the civic centre, the theatre, the libraries. So I didn't been in the library before, but they told me what to do in there, they told me everything.
So they help you feel more comfortable in Birmingham?
Yeah.
I went to a train station and a shop to how to learn how to use a self-checkout.
What help did you get from the school?
They helped me to read and write and speak English perfect.
This is one of the most diverse schools in Britain. Half of its 600 pupils speak English as a second language.
52 different languages spoken here at City Academy.
And many of the students here have at some point lived in Home Office hotels. The head told me that these last-minute accommodation moves often disrupt their learning.
We provide that stability for them. Some of our students and our families have stayed in one hotel and then they moved to another hotel, or they've moved out of one house, and that can happen 2 or 3 times in a month. Our help and support doesn't just stop with the students, we're also helping the families as well, but it is challenging in terms of many of the families staying in temporary accommodation.
Access to education is a legal right for all children in Britain, regardless of their immigration status. Yet if you're a child in the asylum system, it can often be a postcode lottery just to get a school place, with older teenagers often facing long delays and being out of education for long periods of time. And with wider school budget cuts, education unions say there's been a steady decline in specialist language support.
It is a concern that specialist support for English as an additional language is being squeezed or cut in many of our schools. And if we want to seriously talk about integration and creating cohesive communities, then we need to address these issues.
100 miles north in Manchester, this is an area with a large number of asylum seekers and refugees. This primary school is going above and beyond to help.
We also support families as well who may just arrive here with just the clothes on their back.
So a family would
get one of these. There's books in there as well.
Homework is translated into 25 different languages.
It can be hard leaving our grown-ups, it can be scary.
Schools do get some extra money from local authorities for pupils who don't speak English as a first language. But they can be left out of pocket because they only get funding for those registered at the start of the school year.
For a school like us who may have 20 to 30 children coming in after the October census, we support families with uniforms, so we have a second-hand uniform shop. We may support families with food from our hub. So we're having to fund all of that before we get the actual funding the following academic year. So it would make a real difference if the funding could be termly rather than annually.
One, show me your boards.
The government told us it's committed to safeguarding the welfare of all children. And regardless of immigration status, all school-aged kids in England are required by law to receive full-time education.
Well, Sarah joins us from Leeds now. Sarah's a really interesting report. The impact of this is quite uneven across the country, isn't it?
That's right, and there's been an ongoing debate over the years about what impact migration has on school places. And you're right, there are big regional differences. Inner city schools in places like London and Birmingham that might be close to temporary accommodation or these asylum hotels, they have had to adapt to this much more so than rural schools in the north of England, for example. But ultimately, it is down to the council. It's their responsibility to secure places. And some evidence suggests that some schools may be reluctant or refuse to take children who can't speak English because they're worried that they won't be able to properly support them. And then there is the wider political picture to all of this, tensions, concerns in some areas about the levels of immigration and what impact that may have on public services. Now, the government has pledged to bring down net migration repeatedly. It's also said that it wants to close asylum hotels. But education leaders have pointed out to me that it's often the chaotic handling of the asylum system that has such a detrimental impact. These last-minute accommodation moves and frequent moves between hotels that are so disruptive to education, and it's often schools that are left to pick up the pieces.
Sarah Corker in Leeds, thank you.